Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling budgeting, especially for families on a tight income.
Always a relevant topic.
Yeah, so we've got tips from all kinds of sources for this one. We've got like YouTube video from a financial coach,
Okay.
some consumer advocate websites. We've even got some insights from like a certified financial planner. So kind of a mix.
That's great. Always good to get a mix of perspectives.
Definitely, definitely. So one of the things that jumped out at me um, was this idea of auto saving,
Oh, interesting.
which the financial coach on the YouTube video, her name is Sarah, really swears by this.
Ah,
And it makes sense to me, right? Like
yeah,
it's that whole like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you can have it automatically deducted from your paycheck or checking account, you're not even going to see it, so it's less tempting to spend, right?
Right.
You don't even have to think about it. It just happens.
Yeah, exactly. You're not like, oh, should I transfer it this month or not? It's like, nope, it's already gone.
Already happened. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a psychological trick, right?
Yeah, it's like a money magic trick.
Exactly.
And then, we were talking about kind of that set it and forget it mentality.
Yeah.
I noticed the Discover article talked about this for bills too,
Oh, yeah.
like automating bill payments.
That's super important, especially for busy families.
Yeah, because if you miss those payments,
So the late fees.
it just throws everything off.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're already on a tight budget. You can't afford those extra fees.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. Um, okay, so this is a suggestion that kind of jumped out at me.
Okay.
In the YouTube video, Sarah suggests just getting rid of your car.
Whoa. Okay.
Like altogether, no more car payment, no more insurance, no more gas. Sounds kind of tempting.
Bold move.
Yeah.
Yeah, bold move. I mean, definitely a way to save a lot of money, but I think it's important to really consider your lifestyle and your needs. Like, do you live in an area with good public transportation?
All right.
Can you walk or bike to places? Things like that.
I noticed in the Discover article, it kind of touched on that too, like carpooling as an option
Yeah, yeah.
if you don't want to completely ditch the car.
Which can be a great way to connect with other families too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Build some community.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, both the YouTube video and the Discover article really zeroed in on food as like kind of the place where you can save money.
Makes sense. It's a big part of everyone's budget.
It is. And it's something that you can really control, right? Like
Yeah.
you can get creative with it.
Absolutely, yeah. Sarah had some great tips about meal planning and shopping sales and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, checking out local resources. Like, there are food pantries,
Yeah.
in a lot of communities. And she even talked about, I think they're called farm to library programs,
Oh, interesting.
where, like, local farmers donate produce
Oh, wow.
to libraries and you can go pick it up.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively new thing,
Okay.
but definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
The Discover article also had a lot of good advice about saving money on groceries,
Like what?
like meal planning, but it really dives into it, like using flyer apps to compare prices at different stores,
Oh, yeah, those are great.
and then using cashback apps too.
To get a little bit back on your grocery purchases.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
Every penny counts.
Okay. So speaking of technology and tools that can help you,
Okay.
Sarah recommends checking your bank account every single day.
Oh, wow. Every day.
Every day,
Okay.
which seems like a lot.
It does.
But she makes a good point. Like, she's like, it helps you catch any unauthorized charges right away.
That's true.
But it also just makes you more aware of, like, where your money is going.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're more in tune with your spending habits when you're checking it every day.
Yeah.
You're more likely to notice if something's off
Right.
or if you're like overspending in a certain category.
Yeah, exactly. And then, the NerdWallet article kind of talks about this too, like tracking your spending, to kind of get those insights.
Yeah, to figure out where your money's actually going, because sometimes it's like a mystery, right?
It is. It's like, where did it all go?
Exactly. And so,
Yeah.
maybe you're spending way more on streaming services than you realized. Or, maybe your grocery bill has slowly been creeping up and you haven't noticed because you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, tracking is super helpful.
Are there any tools or methods that you recommend for tracking?
There are so many great budgeting apps out there now. But honestly, even just a simple spreadsheet can work. The key is to find something that works for you and stick with it.
Okay. So we've got auto saving, rethinking our cars, being smart about food, and tracking where our money's going. That's a lot. But life's not all about pinching pennies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to have some fun too,
Of course. We can't forget about fun.
especially for families.
Yeah, you need to factor that into your budget.
Yeah, otherwise you're just going to burn out, and then you're not going to stick to your budget anyway.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about balance.
Yeah.
You need to enjoy life too.
So, Sarah, in the YouTube video, she talks about this idea of setting aside some fun money.
I like that.
Right.
Oh.
Like, so you don't feel guilty when you do spend money on something fun.
Exactly. And the Discover article had some really cool ideas for frugal fun activities.
So, like what?
Things like camping or, going to the park, exploring local parks, or even just having a family game night at home.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You can create those amazing memories without spending a ton of money.
And it's about being creative, right? Like maybe you have a family movie night, but instead of ordering takeout, everybody makes a dish to share.
Exactly. It's about finding those workarounds that still allow you to have those experiences and enjoy yourself while being mindful of your budget. So true. Okay, so we've got auto saving, ditching the car, maybe, meal planning, daily check-ins, and fun money. What else is in this treasure trove of budgeting tips?
Well, there's this theme that pops up across a few of the sources, and that is the power of no.
Okay, interesting.
And this applies to both spending and asking for help.
Okay, so the YouTube video talked about asking for discounts and using programs like the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Right.
So I'm guessing the no part comes into play when those requests aren't met.
Exactly. It's about knowing what you truly need and being comfortable saying no to things that aren't essential or that don't fit within your budget.
It's tough. It's like a muscle you have to build, right?
It is, yeah. It can be really tough at first,
Yeah,
but it's so empowering.
right. Makes sense. The NerdWall article also had some great advice about finding local community resources,
Oh, yes.
like Buy Nothing groups,
Those are amazing.
and then using websites like 211.org.
To find help with like essential needs.
Yeah.
So it's really emphasizing that there's no shame in asking for help when you need it.
Absolutely not. There are so many incredible resources out there to support families, and it's okay to take advantage of them.
Okay, I'm already feeling like inspired and ready to tackle my budget. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to like reflect on what we've uncovered so far.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot.
We have. We've talked about automating our finances, exploring alternative transportation options, making smart choices about food, checking our accounts regularly. We even talked about finding ways to have fun on a budget.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the importance of asking for help and saying no when needed. These are all fantastic building blocks for any family looking to take control of their finances. As we're talking about all these great strategies, one thing that keeps coming back to me is that budgeting isn't just about numbers.
Oh, interesting.
It's about making choices that align with your family's values, like what's truly important to you. And this really resonated with what we saw in those supermom hacks and the grandparents adore grandchildren sources.
Yeah.
It's not just about pinching pennies, it's about raising financially savvy kids
Yeah.
and building those healthy money habits as a family.
Absolutely. It's like shifting that mindset from, ugh, I have to budget to we're all in this together.
Exactly. And that starts with open and honest conversations about money.
Right. Which the NerdWallet article talked about, like having those open conversations about finances with your partner.
Yeah,
And even your kids too, like in an age-appropriate way, of course.
of course.
No more like hushed whispers about money behind closed doors.
Exactly. It's about normalizing those conversations and demystifying the family budget
Yeah.
and really empowering everyone to participate in making those responsible choices.
I love that. It's like that saying, the best way to teach is by example.
Yes.
Like if your kids see you talking about money, it sends a powerful message.
Totally. And it gives them those tools, that knowledge they need to make smart financial decisions when they get older.
Right. Speaking of teaching by example, the Supermom Hacks article was all about getting the kids involved
Oh, I love that.
in the actual budgeting process, not just the spending decisions.
Yes.
Turn it into a family activity.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a family meeting once a month
Right.
to review the budget, set some goals,
Yeah.
brainstorm ways to save together.
And it takes the pressure off of parents, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not all on their shoulders.
Yeah, it's a team effort. It creates that shared responsibility. And the NerdWallet article also emphasized teamwork, especially for couples.
Yeah, it said working together to create a budget that reflects both partners' needs and goals.
Right. And then the Bank of America article took it a step further. It suggested that couples actually establish clear roles for managing finances.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about, like, splitting the bills down the middle.
Right?
It's about playing to each other's strengths.
Okay.
Maybe one person's better at, like, tracking expenses.
Right. And the other person's really good at, researching investments.
I love that. It's like, okay, you're the captain of this, I'm the captain of that.
Exactly. And of course, open communication is key throughout the whole process, making sure both partners feel heard, understood,
Right.
and empowered to make those financial decisions together.
Right. Which brings us back to that open communication with the kids, too.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that we can actually, like, practically have those conversations, especially when you're dealing with a tight budget?
The Grandparents Adore Grandchildren article had some good tips. It said, start small, like explaining where the money for groceries comes from
Oh, yeah?
or how much things cost. And as they get older, you can involve them in more complex discussions like setting savings goals, planning a family vacation.
Right. It doesn't have to be like this big formal sit-down lecture.
No.
It can be just woven into those everyday moments, really.
Exactly. Like you're at the grocery store with your kid. You can say, like, hey, let's see if we can stick to our list this week and save some money.
Totally. Or like, hey, we're saving up for that family trip. What are some things we can do to reach our goal faster?
Exactly. It's about making it relatable, engaging for them.
Right.
And it's okay to be honest about your financial challenges. Kids are more resilient than we give them credit for, and those conversations can be such valuable learning experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've covered that open communication, that teamwork piece involving the kids, and finding that balance between those needs versus wants.
Right.
What other nuggets of wisdom have we found in these sources?
Well, one thing that stood out to me was the importance of planning, not just for everyday expenses,
Yeah.
but for the long term.
Oh, yeah.
The Supermom Hacks article was a big advocate for this, emphasizing meal planning, debt payoff strategies, and setting those specific savings goals.
So it's all about having a roadmap, right?
Yes.
Knowing where you want to go and then taking those steps to get there.
Exactly. And the Discover article actually connected this to the holidays, which I thought was really interesting. It reminded families to start planning early for holiday spending,
Oh, that's smart.
so you can take advantage of sales and avoid that last-minute panic buying that can totally wreck your budget.
Yeah. The holidays can be such a financial stressor for sure.
Oh, for sure. I've definitely fallen into that trap of overspending in the past.
Oh, yeah, me too. Having a plan definitely takes the pressure off.
Yeah. And speaking of planning for the future, I think it's worth mentioning the Bank of America article.
Yeah.
It mentioned the potential tax benefits of saving for retirement, even on one income.
Oh, that's something that a lot of people probably don't realize, especially when you're on a tight budget.
Hmm.
It can be hard to even fathom, like, saving for retirement.
It's so true. But even small, consistent contributions can make a huge difference over time. It's about playing that long game,
Right.
setting your family up for that financial security down the road.
So we've got planning for the short term, planning for the long term. What else do we have in this budgeting arsenal?
Well, a few of the sources touched on something that can be a game changer for families on a tight budget:
Oh, what's that?
embracing secondhand items.
Ah, yes. Pre-loved.
The Discover article highlighted this for kids' clothing, sports gear, even musical instruments.
Oh, yeah. Think of the savings there.
And then the NerdWallet article kind of echoed this, pointing back to those buy-nothing groups and community resources as gold mines for free or low-cost items.
It's like a treasure hunt,
Yeah,
but for your budget.
exactly. And, like the Supermom Hacks source pointed out, this approach can actually help families reach those savings goals faster.
Yeah,
So it's a win-win. You save money and reduce waste.
absolutely. Speaking of saving money, in the YouTube video, Sarah had a tip that I thought was really interesting, which is just asking for discounts.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds so simple, but I'll admit I don't always think to do it.
It can feel a little awkward.
Yeah, but it can't hurt to ask.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised how often it works, especially if you're dealing with a local business. They're often more willing to work with you than larger corporations.
Makes sense.
And then Sarah also highlighted the importance of, utilizing those programs that are out there, like
Yeah.
the Affordable Connectivity Program,
Right.
which helps families save on internet service.
Yeah, there are so many programs and resources designed to support families, especially those who are struggling financially. It's all about doing the research.
Yeah.
And taking advantage of what's available.
Absolutely.
Okay, we covered a lot of ground again. We talked about that open communication, the teamwork, getting the kids involved, planning, embracing those secondhand finds, asking for discounts, utilizing those available resources, I feel
Here
energized,
too.
ready to tackle my budget head on.
It's amazing how much you can achieve with a little knowledge, a little creativity, and a willingness to try new things. But before we wrap up, there's one more crucial piece of advice that we found in these sources. It's this idea that budgeting is a journey, not a destination.
Oh, okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach. What
Right.
works for one family might not work for another, and that's okay.
Right. You got to find what fits your life, your values.
Exactly. And that means being willing to experiment, adjust, maybe even stumble a few times along the way.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's not about being perfect.
No, not at all.
It's about, like, figuring it out as you go.
Exactly. Budgeting is about finding your own rhythm, your own groove. It's about making those conscious choices that align with your family's priorities.
And those priorities can change, right? What works for your family today might not work like a year from now.
Absolutely. Things change, life changes. That's why it's so important to revisit your budget regularly.
Okay.
Reassess your needs. Make adjustments as necessary.
So it's not about setting it in stone and then never looking at it again.
No, no, no.
It's about having that roadmap, but being flexible.
Exactly. And remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Oh, I like that.
There will be good days and there will be bad days. Times when you feel like you're crushing it and times when you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
The important thing is to just keep going.
Right.
Celebrate those small wins, learn from those setbacks, and keep that long-term vision in mind.
Don't give up.
Exactly.
And, don't be afraid to ask for help along the way.
Oh, for sure.
We talked about all those resources that are available for families,
Yes.
whether it's a financial advisor, community organization, or even just like a trusted friend or family member.
Absolutely. Having that support system can make such a difference.
Like having your own personal cheer squad. Okay, so we talked about finding your groove, being flexible, celebrating the wins, and, leaning on that support system.
Right.
What else can we add to this toolkit for families who are on a tight budget?
Well, a few sources touched on a topic that can be really challenging for families, and that's dealing with debt.
Yeah.
The Supermom Hacks article, it talked about having a debt payoff plan.
Okay.
While the Nerd Wallet article highlighted some strategies for like negotiating with creditors
Okay.
and finding affordable debt consolidation options.
Yeah, debt can be a big weight, especially when you're already kind of struggling to make ends meet.
Oh, absolutely. And it can be tempting to just like ignore it and hope it goes away,
Yeah.
but that rarely works.
No.
The key is to face it head on,
Okay.
develop a plan, and seek help if you need it.
And, even baby steps can make a difference over time, right?
Absolutely. Like maybe you start by paying an extra $10 toward your credit card balance each month, or call your creditors to negotiate a lower interest rate. Every little bit helps.
And as you chip away at it, you'll start to feel that sense of relief,
Yes.
like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Exactly. It's like climbing a mountain. Might seem daunting at first, but with each step, you get closer to the summit. And the view from the top, worth it.
Totally.
Yeah.
That freedom. Okay, so debt management. What other nuggets of wisdom did we find?
A couple of sources talked about energy efficiency,
Oh, okay.
which is often overlooked, but it can have a big impact on your finances.
Yeah, makes sense.
The Discover article mentions simple things like switching to LED light bulbs, unplugging electronics when you're not using them.
Okay.
And the NerdWallet article talked about programs that can help families save money on weatherization and energy-efficient appliances.
Those little changes really add up.
They do. And it's not just about saving money. It's about being mindful of our environmental impact, too.
Oh, for sure. So energy efficiency, check. What else?
Well, the YouTube video had this tip that I thought was really clever.
Okay.
Using a cash envelope system.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Sarah suggested dividing your cash into envelopes labeled for different spending categories, like groceries, transportation, entertainment. And once the cash in an envelope is gone, you're done spending in that category for the month.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's a visual way to track your spending. Makes those tough decisions about where to allocate your money.
Yeah, like you see it right there.
Exactly. And it can be especially helpful for people who tend to overspend when they use credit cards.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've got the cash envelope system. What else?
The Bank of America article emphasized the importance of reviewing your insurance policies regularly.
Oh, right.
It suggested shopping around for better rates and making sure you have adequate coverage.
Yeah, insurance can be one of those things that we just like set and forget.
It's easy to do.
But it's important to make sure you're getting the best value.
Absolutely. It's about being proactive,
Hmm.
taking control of your finances,
Right.
even in areas that might not seem as exciting as, say, planning a vacation.
True. Speaking of exciting things, the Discover article had a whole section on finding free and low-cost activities for families.
Oh, yes.
Things like visiting local parks, going to community events, checking out library programs, exploring free museums or art galleries.
There are so many ways to have fun and make memories without spending a lot of money.
It's about getting creative. Okay, so we've covered debt management, energy efficiency, the cash envelope system, insurance, and finding those free and low-cost activities. I think we've officially emptied out this treasure chest of budgeting wisdom.
I think so. We explored so many great strategies for families on a tight income, from automating our finances and making those mindful spending choices to embracing secondhand items and finding those creative ways to have fun.
And we talked about the importance of communication, teamwork, planning, seeking support when needed, and remembering that this is a journey. It's not about reaching some, perfect destination.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this deep dive. What a journey.
It was. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired and empowered, ready to take control of their family's finances and create that brighter future, one budget-savvy decision at a time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So on that note, we'll say goodbye for now. But remember, you've got this. Keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep those budgeting conversations going. Until next time.